Hello, my name is Marcello Bikecki, and today I would like to show you how to use the clickatel.net library. So first things first, open up Visual Studio and go to Project, Manage NuGet Packages. Then look up Clickatel. You'll see Clickatel API with the little Clickatel logo on it. Click that one. The current version is 1.01. Click Install. Accept the license. And now if we go to the Installed tab, we can see that the package has successfully been installed. So go ahead and close out of NuGet. Now in our program, we're going to include the namespaces. So that's going to be Clickatel, clickatel.models, and clickatel.models.results. Now, the first thing that we need to do is authenticate our API. So type in authenticate, and then set the API key equal to whatever your API key is. I'm going to go ahead and grab mine right now. And then we're going to say authenticate.testLogin, and then I'm going to pass it the true parameter for throw exception. So this means that if our authentication fails, it's going to throw an exception instead of just returning false. So let's go ahead and compile this. And it looks like everything's okay. It didn't throw an exception, and it jumped straight down to press enter to exit. Alright, so now that we're authenticated, let's go ahead and get our account balance. So go ahead and type in account.getBalance, and here we have three different options. We can either just get the account balance, we can get the account balance with an output string for the currency, or we can get a tuple that doesn't return anything. So I'm going to go ahead and get a string with the currency. And let's go ahead and call this a decimal val equals. And then we'll say console.writeLine. And then we'll say parameter 0 will be the balance, and parameter 2. One. So we'll say val currency. Now if we run this, we will see that we got our account balance in United States dollars. Okay, so now it's time to send a text message. But first things first, we need to set up our settings. So go ahead and type in settings, and let's start out with the country code. So this is going to be the number prefix. So in my case, I'm in the United States, so our country's prefix is 1. And then we can go ahead and set up a default from number. And you only need to worry about this if you are using a two-way integration, which I am. So in order to send the text message, we call message actions class, and then we say send message. And there's a bunch of different options that we can do. First off, we could build a class and then for the message and then pass it that message class. Or we can send a message to a single user by specifying the message content and a single user. Or we can send the same message to many people through send to, up to 200 people. And then for both sending a single message to a single recipient and sending a single message to multiple recipients, you could also specify a deliver at time, and this will deliver the text message at the time specified. Now, a precautionary note for when you do this is make sure that you also set up the time zone, otherwise it's going to go off of UTC. And it's not fun sending people text messages at 3 in the morning. So what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to send out a single text message to myself. So I'm going to say hello world, and I'm going to send that to 719-555-2656. And this send message also returns a message status class. So what we are going to do is we are going to say send message status. And here, I'm going to see if the message was accepted. So if the message was accepted, then we're going to say console.writeLine and then I also want the message ID. Now if the message wasn't accepted, I want to know why it wasn't accepted. So I can say console.writeLine message was not accepted. And then I'm going to call the error description. Oh, I just noticed that my new API key has a space in it. And now let's go ahead and compile this. So we can see that the message was accepted with this as the message ID. So now let's say that we want to send the same message to multiple people. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put a comment over this code and say send to single person. And then down here, we're going to declare a single message or send messages status. And this is going to be messages, and we're going to say message actions dot send message, and then hello, sale starts today. And then we're going to say that we want to send that to 555-9696. And I can say that I also want to send it to 4752. So now this message, hello, sale starts today, is going to be sent to both of these numbers. And then I'm going to iterate through each message. So for each send message status, single message in messages dot message, I am going to just go ahead and copy this code here. And then I'm also going to say who it was sent to. So here we can just say message we can say single message dot to number, and same thing down here. And I'm going to go ahead and just put a comment up here that says send to multiple people. So now if we go ahead and run this code again, we can see that both of our messages were accepted. So the single message and then the one that went out to multiple people. Now, what happens when we want to check on a message? So what we can do is I'm going to go ahead and just scrap this code here and then say, let's do a system dot threading dot thread dot sleep for let's give it a second and a half, and let's just say console dot write line just so that way we know that we aren't asleep. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to say message actions dot get message status for single message, and then I'm going to pass it the message ID. I could also just pass it the message status itself. And then I can say console dot write line, and then we'll just pass it this. God, I can't type. Okay, and now let's fix the bugs that I decided to type in for fun. Yeah, just to keep you on your toes, that's why. And we'll go ahead and hit run. Now we've entered our sleep loop, and it says that both of these messages have been emulated, which makes sense because the integration I'm using is a sandbox. So any number that I send to that isn't in my test numbers will just be emulated. Okay, so the final thing that I want to show you is the way that the system will throw an error. Let's say that you don't provide a from number with a two-way integration. If I go ahead and run this, it'll throw an exception, text message invalid, and then if I view the details of this exception, I can see that the error is going to be invalid from number, the error code's 106, and it should say you need to specify a correct from number. Now, what I can do is, let's say that it's an issue with a phone number being in the incorrect format. This is because one of your users filled out some data incorrectly. Instead of throwing an exception, what you can say is you can tell the message actions class to disable exceptions. And so now when we run the code, everything will run fine, but we will get an error message. Now, the other thing to note is that when you do a get message status on a message that hasn't been accepted, it will throw an error. So, like it did right here. Alright, well that pretty much wraps everything up. This was just a quick tutorial on the clickatel.net library or package. If you have any questions, go ahead and leave those down in the comments below. I'll try to get back to everybody. Also, you can open up an issue on GitHub, and I will respond to you as well there. So thanks for watching.